So Skarner was confirmed for the next VGU after Udyr, and Riot even teased at the possibility of rewriting the Brackern lore again in their roadmap. While I have my own thoughts and feelings about the Brackern specifically, I'll save that discussion for another time in video. Today, we're going to talk about a character who's had a somewhat problematic connection to the Brackern since her release, Seraphine. Now, it's difficult to talk about Seraphine without delving into the whole KDA controversy, but since that feels like being a dead horse at this point, I think it's better if we just ignore all that and focus on the main Runeterran version of the character. Seraphine's biggest issue is the fact that she uses a Brackern crystal, more commonly known as a hex crystal by the Piltovans that mine them, to amplify her singing powers that allow her to force people to feel empathy. She wants to bridge the divide between Piltovans and Zonites, even though she's using a sentient being as a power source to do so. While most Piltovans at least have the excuse that they don't know these crystals are alive, Seraphine's empathy powers allowed her to hear the Brackern soul and figured out that hex crystals are exactly that, living things. Now, her original bio says that the Brackern she learned to commune with was sympathetic to Seraphine's plight, and willingly offered itself to her cause. But you can maybe see why that's still a touch controversial, especially when it seemed like Seraphine's goals were only ever to help the humans in Piltover and Zon, not the Brackern who were still effectively being enslaved. Her new lore was tweaked so that she wasn't able to fully commune with the crystal and so only has a vague idea that it's a living thing, so she doesn't know the full history of the Brackern or that they're dying out thanks to mining. It's kind of an improvement, but not much of one. Either way, if the Brackern lore is rewritten again, then there's a chance that Seraphine's bio will need to be as well. How drastically depends on the direction they decide to go with, but either way, Seraphine's story is still in an awkward place. See, for me, the biggest issue that Seraphine has isn't her connection to the Brackern, it's that her story doesn't really let her go anywhere at the moment. YouTubers like TBSkyn have already addressed this matter in detail, but Seraphine is the perfect foil for characters like Camille and Urgot. The former wants to keep the Zonite populace oppressed for the continued prosperity of Piltover, while the latter wants to lead a violent and bloody uprising that will throw both cities into chaos. Seraphine, with her magic to literally control empathy, is a perfect protagonist to stand against them both and unite the cities as one. That's what she's theoretically supposed to be. That's what she's trying to be. Unfortunately, that's not what she is. Seraphine hosts concerts for both Piltovans and Zonites, and when she sings, the crowds are able to simply unite as music lovers to the sound of her voice. Seraphine's story describes how she can literally hear the discord in their souls vanishing when she sings. Unfortunately, this really isn't a permanent solution to the problem by any means. Seraphine can bring the populaces together for a time, but she isn't doing anything to actually fix the issues that cause a divide between the cities in the first place. She hasn't done anything to help the poor and impoverished Zonites better their condition, nor has she really aided in bringing down the chimparents that peddle dangerous drugs and technologies. However, I don't believe Seraphine needs a full rewrite to get there. Rather, I think she needs a story arc. A proper one. I think she needs to be confronted with the reality of the situation. That all her concerts do is put a bandage on a wound without trying to treat the root of the problem. I think she should witness firsthand how little impact she actually has, perhaps seeing her fans on both sides of the fight against each other, and realize that her efforts thus far aren't enough. Have Seraphine undergo a crisis of faith, both in her ideals and herself, and come out the other side realizing that she needs to do more than just bring people together for a brief concert. As others have said before me, Seraphine could easily become League's protest singer, though she could also very easily be taken in another direction entirely. Maybe she could try and channel the discord she hears in people's hearts back out at them, singing about the struggles that Piltovans and Zonites both endure rather than just trying to make them forget about their troubles for a bit. Maybe we could have her learn these lessons from the Brackern after her crisis, rather than having her encounter one from the very start of her story. Regardless, if you want to advance Seraphine in any meaningful way, then I think the only real way to do it is to abandon the starry-eyed songstress, and let her open both eyes and ears to the reality of the cause she's fighting for.